Okay, are you able to see the PPT screen? Shall we start the class? Shall we start the class? So next topic is called class design and class diagrams. So any doubt in the previous class, use case modeling using UML diagrams? Shall we start the class?
Yes, ma'am.
The same way we can draw, we can create classes also using virtual lab. So if we go to the module of identifying domain classes from the problem statement, they will give you an idea about what is the classes. So they will give you the basic objectives of what is domain classes, what are the grammatical approach using nouns, advantages, disadvantages using generalization, subclasses, domain classes from the problem statement. So that is valid classes and invalid classes, identifying, and advanced concepts. The same way we'll have, so we need Adobe Flash Player for playing this simulated version. So the simulator will give you the idea about identifying the domain classes, how to identify the domain classes for the given scenario. So they given you a scenario called ATM. So the automated teller machine, ATM, automated teller machine lets customers to withdraw cash anywhere, anytime, without requiring involvement in much involvement in the banking process. So ATM card into the machine and authenticate himself by typing his personal identification number, PIN number. He cannot avail any of the facilities if the PIN entered is wrong. So they should enter the valid PIN number, and they can deposit cash to their account with the bank, and also they can transfer the fund from one account to another account. They can withdraw the money. Every day morning, the stock of cash in the ATM machine is reported and replaced by the representatives. The machine stops working then if it is fixed by the maintenance guy. So they given you a scenario of automated teller machine, ATM. So for the given scenario, they given you self-evaluation. So for the given scenario, we need to create the classes and objects and the various functions associated with the ATM class. So they identify the domain object model. So they given you self-evaluation, that is MCQ questions. Then the various procedures to be followed. So the general instructions and experiment specific instructions. Same way, then given you the exercise. Shall we start the class? So in the exercise section, they given you 2 problems. Only one problem they given you. You choose the problem that will display the scenario. So they given you a scenario for the exercise the domain classes from the problem statement. Identify the domain classes from the following problem statement. So the latest cab services agency in the city has approached you to develop a cab management system. So like Ola and Uber, like that. So we have to create an app for automated cab maintenance system, cab booking and cancellation, payment and other things. Following is the information they have given you to implement the system. So Mr. Bose is the boss of the agency. Cabs are solely owned by the agency. They hire drivers to drive the cabs. Most of the cabs are without AC. However, a few comes with AC. So we need to design learning objectives, identify the potential classes and their attributes from the given problem statement. So we have to identify the major classes and their attributes and functions associated with the class from the given scenario. So what are the things they given? The agency provides services from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Presently, the service is limited only within Calcutta. So however, any passenger books a cab can avail cab is allotted for him. A booking receipt is given to the passenger. He is then dropped to his home, office, or wherever he wants to go. In case of the place is too interior, the passenger is dropped in the nearest landmark. So here it's like a prepaid taxi. So they need to book the taxi and they need to pay in the taxi counter itself. Then they will be dropped into the particular place. If the place is very interior, they will be dropped in the nearby landmark. Payments are made in that to the drivers by check drawn in the local branch at your risk of the bank. All kind of financial required for the business are dealt with the bank. Recently, a neighbor of Bose has given proposal to book one of the cab in the morning every day to drop his son to the school and drop him back to the home later. The other person in the locality have also found the plan is good. Hence, Mr. Bose planning to introduce the drop to school plan also very soon. So they added one more scenario. So like dropping the kids to the school and picking up back to their home, like monthly rental basis. So this is the given scenario. For the given scenario, we need to identify the potential classes and the problem statement. Use expert knowledge on the subject matter to identify the relevant classes. So the limitations, everything we need to identify. So here we need to identify the various classes. Say for example, here the classes can be passenger or it may be passenger. We can have a driver. Again, within the passenger, we can have the concept also we can choose. And driver also. School going kids. School kids is another class. Students, or we can give school kids. So we should give the class name in a single noun. Then, so the driver will have name of the driver, ID of the driver. We need address of the driver, various attributes. The time slot for the driver. So these are the attributes associated with the driver. The same way, we can choose the passenger. So the passenger will have the name, ID, their time slot, and address. So both are added, and attribute. So other attributes we can add name, address. This, if you want to add additional parameters here, additional characteristics or attributes we can add here. And we want to define classes list. We can have address, name, ID, time. So like that we can design classes also. We'll define one more class called school class. School is an organization. For the school class, we'll have address of the school, name of the school, timing of the school, working days, what are the other attributes associated with the school class? Are you able to see the screen? Shall we start the class? So these are the things we added with school, school name, school ID. Student name associated with the so all the attributes we added school. We identified the various objects are driver is an object, passenger can be an object, school. So the associated attributes. The same way, we can choose so which driver is picking up the student. So these are the classes. Additional classes we can add drop and pick up. Reason drop and pick up class that will be an derived class. Are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen? Kritika Jain?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So they given you a scenario to create a domain classes and corresponding objects. The given scenario is a cab and taxi booking like Ola, Uber, like that. So the passengers can register themselves to the cab management system. They can book the travel. So they can pay, so for the given scenario, they identified these are the various nouns so associated with the given problem statement. So there will be, it's an agency, it is having cabs, so drivers will have AC cars or non-AC cars, and the passengers are associated with the system. They will have office, landmark, payment. So these are the nouns associated with the given scenario. So based on the nouns, they are identifying the nouns are categorized into the people, places, things, organizations, concepts, and events. So the peoples are human beings or living things associated with a given problem statement. So the owner of the cab, boss, drivers, passengers, son, person, neighbor, they are all the people associated with the given project. And places are, so the cab is cab management system is available in Calcutta. So home, office, places, they are all the places associated with the given problem statement. Things are cabs, AC, non-AC cars, shake, they are all the things. Organizations are agency, bank, school, they are all the organizations. Concepts are services, payments, finances, business, plan, they are all the concepts associated with the given scenario. Events are morning time, every day, morning only office going people will pick up the taxi during the morning time, and every day school going kids will have a journey every day, drop to the school, pick up and drop process for the school going kids. So these are the events. So like that we will categorize. We will take all the nouns from the given problem statement, then we will categorize the nouns into people, places, things, organization, concepts, and events. Then those are the problems, possible classes with their associated properties. So from the nouns and the categories, we are identifying the valid classes and invalid classes. So the various valid classes may be the person can be a valid class. So within the person class, we can have address, height, name, and weight. So if you take the employee class, the employee can have address, employee height, employee name, employee weight, employee ID. So the customer class, they will have the address, height, name, weight, and customer ID. Places class, the places will have address alone. And cab class, it will have color of the cab, cost of the cab, it has AC or not, AC cab or non-AC cab. And the booking process class will have time, customer, starting place, and destination. Bank class will have the address, branch, and name. So because the payment is done through the valid check. So these are the identified valid classes for the given scenario: person, employee, customer, place, cab, booking, and bank. So based on the identified classes, the following transactions or events or methods can be implemented. The various transactions which we can create for the given scenario are transaction. So the transaction will have transaction ID, will have parties involved and time. Payment will have amount, name of the payee, and serial number. So these are the various other classes. So like that, we need to, for the given any scenario, we need to identify the various, we need to analyze the given problem in the given domain. Then we will identify the nouns and keywords associated with the problem. Then we will categorize the nouns into places, people, things, and organization. Then we will identify the valid classes and the attributes associated with the classes. Then various transactions which we can perform on the classes. So like that, we need to analyze for any given scenario according to the given case study or situation or the problem statement or project specification. So so the same thing we are going to study in the class design and class diagrams. So are you able to see the screen, PPT screen, module 3, class design and class diagrams? The screen is visible to you?
Yes.
Yeah. So here we are going to discuss UML, essentials of UML class diagrams, associations, multiplicity and relationships, generalization concepts, object diagrams, then advanced features of class diagrams, interaction and behavioral diagrams, interaction diagrams, state diagrams, activity and component deployment diagrams. So these are the concepts we are going to study in this particular module. So first topic is UML, essentials of UML class diagrams. So again, it is also related with UML only. So here we will study what is UML. We already discussed in module 2. UML is Unified Modeling Language. It is a graphical design tool used to create the UML components. So UML contains a variety of diagram types like class diagrams, which describes classes and their relationships, and interaction diagrams describes the behavior of systems in terms of how objects interact with each other. So how the interaction or transactions are performed during the runtime is represented using interaction diagram. state diagrams and activity diagrams which show how the system behave during the execution time, and component and deployment diagrams show how the various components within the system are arranged logically so that it can perform the sequence of activities based on the given instruction. So these are the diagrams we can draw for the given project. So if you take the essentials of UML class diagram, so we know very well classes are abstract description of our data structure. So it every class is a main symbol shown in the class diagram. So in classes we'll have associations, attributes, operations, and generalizations. So every class is a declaration part of your objects. So in classes, we'll have a collection of attributes, collection of member functions. And within the classes, we'll have association among the classes, and various attributes need to be mentioned, and the operations within the class need to be defined, and the generalization among the classes need to be specified. So classes represent the types of data themselves, and association represent linkages between instance of classes. So association means how one class is associated with another class, whether the class is base class or derived class. That can be represented using association. And attributes are simple data found in the class and their instance. And operations are functions performed by the classes and their instances. Generalizations are groups of classes into inheritance and other hierarchical representation. So the various notations used in classes are, so a class is represented as a box with the name of the class inside the rectangle. So we'll have, say this diagram shows you a rectangle symbol is used to represent a class. So it will have class name is written inside the rectangle. So here the rectangle represents the name of the class. The name should always be singular and start with a capital letter. The class name should always start with a capital letter, and we should use a single word or noun. The diagram may also show the attributes and operations. So other attributes and operations should be specified separately. Say for example, here the name of the class is rectangle. The attributes are height and width. So here we will say public height and public width, and the semicolon will be used, colon will be used at the end. And functions are represented. Get area function, it is return type is integer type, and resize function, it takes two arguments, two integer arguments. So the functions will have opening bracket and closing bracket. So within the rectangle box, we'll have three divisions. First division represents the name of the class. Second division is used to represent the attributes or variables. Third division, we will specify the functions. So the complete signature of an operation is operation name, parameter type, and return type. So in case of functions, we'll specify the function name. Function name should start with a small letter, and if you are using two words, so there won't be any gap. So we'll use the second word in the capital. Second word starts with capital letter, no space among them. And we'll have opening and closing bracket. Within the opening and closing bracket, we will specify the parameters, how many arguments we are passing into the function, followed by the return type of the function. Here the return type is integer. Here it is not returning anything. The return type is void. And here no arguments. Here it takes two arguments. The arguments are separated by comma. The type of attributes where the future is public. If the function is a public function, we'll use plus symbol. If the function is private, we'll use minus symbol. And the signature of operations. So the access specifier or visibility is specified for the attributes as well as the functions. For functions, if a plus symbol is used before the function name, it means the function is a public function. And if it is minus is specified, the function is a private function. So private functions are accessible within the class alone. We cannot access it in front function or in other derived classes. If it is public function, we can access it within the class as well as in the front classes as well as in outside the derived classes also. So these are the things we need to consider while drawing a class diagram. So the class will be represented within rectangle symbol. So the first division in the rectangle takes the name of the class. Second division we are allotting for Here class is having only two functions, no attributes. Here this class is having only attributes, no functions. So if it is not having function or classes attributes, no need to specify the division. Here it's having attributes as well as function. Here we are specifying the complete class. So the variables are private variables, minus represents private variables, and the functions are public functions, plus represents they are public functions. So in this way we need to represent any class. So within the class, we will specify other attributes like associations, multiplicity, and relationships. So any doubt in the class so far? Any doubt so far what is class and how we are specifying the attributes and functions within the class representation? Any doubt? Next, within the class, we will specify association and multiplicity. So association means this class employee is associated with another class called company. So both are related with each other. So the association arrow mark is used. So this employee class is associated with company class. So the company is having a number of employees. So the association is used to show how two classes are related to each other. So they are related or not related. The association is drawn as a line between the classes. So we'll draw a line to state that these two classes are related with each other. A symbol indicating multiplicity are shown at the end of the association. So we'll use the multiplicity symbol here. So here one company, so the association between company and employee is one company is having n number of employees. So star represents multiple, many. So the relationship association is one to many association. One company is having n number of or multiple employees. The same way we have administrative assistant and manager. So there will be n number of managers, one manager or n number of managers, 1 to n. And administrative assistants will be n. So one manager will have n number of assistants. The same way n number of managers will have n number of administrative assistants. The same way we have company class and board of directors class. So board of directors are only one board of director. So every company will have one board of director, 1-to-1 relationship. The same way one office will have n number of employees, 1 to n. The same way one office or zero office will have n number of employees, 0 to 1 to many relationship. And if one person will have in a board of directors, n number of board of directors. We can have n number of board of directors for any company. Say a board of directors for finance and board of directors for executives or production, like that. So we'll have a number of persons. A board of directors may be 3 members, 0 member or 3 member, or maximum 8 people can be in a board of directors committee. So here we are within the class. How to specify association means association is represented using a line between two different classes. And multiplicity may be 1 to many, many to many, or 1 to 1, or many to 1, or many to n. So any doubt in what is association and multiplicity? So they are specifying how the notations are mentioned. Star means many, 1 means only once, 1 dotted means 1 to n, 1 to many, or at least 1. So it means 1 or n number of associations. And internal interval range between 0, 1 to 3. So if you want to specify the range is from 1 to 3, so it may contain 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. So we'll specify the range. And either 0 or between 3 and 8, we'll say it starts from 0, middle is 3, and maximum 8 number of people. So like that we'll specify the notations on the association. The same way, labeling on the association. So in between two classes, there is an association. So in between the association can have some label. Here works for is a label, supervisor is a label, allocated to is a label, and board of member is labeled. The labels are used to specify what is the relationship between the two different classes, or it describes the type of activity. So each association can be labeled to make it explicit nature of the association. The association between employee and company is called work for. So the employee is working for a company. The same way, administrative assistant is a supervisor, manager is a supervisor to the administrative assistant, and employee is allotted to the office. The same way, a person is member of the board of directors. So like that, the labels are used to specify the description about the association. And analyzing the and validating association relationship, the relationship may be many to one. So here star represents many. So the n number of employees, many employees are associated with one company. So employees can only work for one company. So a person can work for only one company. This company will not store data about the moonlight activities of the employees. A company can have 0 employees. And if it is not possible to have an employee unless you work for a company. So the relationship between employee and company is many to one. So the n number of employees, many employees are associated with one company. So we'll use star to many. One means only one. The same way we can have many to many relationships. So it means that there are n number of assistant and n number of managers. So an assistant can work for many managers, and manager can have many assistants. Assistants can work in a pool, and some managers might have 0 assistants. So here the relationship is star to 1 to star. So the supervisors here, manager is the supervisor for an assistant. The same way we can have 1 to 1. So here the company, one company is having only one board of directors committee. So for each company there is exactly one board of directors. A board is a board of only one company. A company must always have a board of directors committee. A board must always be some company. So here they're specifying one company will have only one board of directors committee. So they specified on the label 1 to 1 association. The same way we have invalid and inappropriate associations. So avoid unnecessary 1 to 1 associations. Say a person class is having name alone, personal information like address, email ID and birthplace. So one person will have only one address, one personal information. And so instead of here we are making person as a separate class and personal information as another separate class. Instead of making the same details into 2 different classes, we can put together all the details under the person class itself. So how to validate a class as valid or invalid class means, a person class can have all the parameters or attributes like name of the person, address of the person, email address and birthplace all together as a single abstract entity. And association, analyzing and validating associations. Say association classes, sometimes an attribute that concurs to associated classes cannot be placed in the same class. Say for example, following an equivalent many to many association. So here a student is registering for an course. So one student is registering, he is doing many registrations for different courses, and only one registration is needed for one course. So instead of making like this, we can make it as a student class separate, course section separate, and registration process separate class. So one student, many students can register for many courses. And here, if they want to choose n number of courses, they need to register for each and every course. So here we are taking the association between student and course section, and the registration is an logical process, logical association. It is an so the if they want to register for a particular course, they need to do the logical registration process. And a student can have n number of students can access a number of courses. And a reflexive association. So we need to specify the reflexive association. It is possible for an association to connect to a class to itself. A course can require a prerequisite courses to be taken first. So if you want to register for a course, you need to check the particular course needs any prerequisite. So if you already completed the prerequisite course, then only you are eligible to register for the particular prerequisite is met, then only you are eligible to register for the particular course. So if two courses cover nearly the same material, taking one of them may preclude the student from taking the other, and vice versa. Such courses are called mutually exclusive courses. So if two courses are similar to each other, if you registered yourself for one course, you no need to take the same course. Say you are already registered programming in C++ or programming in Java. So if you already completed object-oriented programming concept through some programming, so both are mutually exclusive courses, then your prerequisite is obtained. The first association is called asymmetric, since the role of the classes at each and are clearly different. The second, on the other hand, is symmetric. Say for example, we have prerequisite course, successor course, and mutually exclusive courses. So if your prerequisite is met, then you are eligible to register for the successor course. And if you have two different courses of similar type, then if you choose any one of the course, then you are eligible for to register for the successor course. So prerequisite is met. So that is called mutually exclusive concept. Here they are mentioning the mutually exclusive concept. So this is one class, this is another class. So the prerequisite here is met to through the mutually exclusive courses to register for the successor course. So directionally in association. So we can use a single directional association. Say previously we don't use any direction. So here if you want to mention the flow of action, a day, one day is associated with a note. So a particular, you want to make some note for a particular day or activity, you can create. One day we can have a number of notes. What are the things to be done in a particular day can be noted through a note class. So a day is a class, note is another class. The day class is associated with a number of note classes. And here we are using the directional association. So the day follows a particular note. And we can make use of bidirectional association also. This arrow marks represent association. Here the flow of action is a particular day we are performing a particular set of actions or things to be done in a particular day, or calendar of events for the particular day. So we can have a number of calendar of events or a number of activities. We can finish it up in a particular day through the node. It is possible to limit the direction of the association by adding an arrow to the end. So here the flow of action is mentioned through the arrow. So it is a single directional association. So add association classes to the three many-to-many associations for the below. So here we have player and sport game. So any game will have a number of players, or a number of players are associated with the different games. The same way we have spectacular and show. So the show can we have a number of spectators. The same way hotel room will have guests. So a number of guests may stay in a particular hotel room, or a number of a particular guest may stay in a number of hotels. Show the attributes that might be found in those association classes. So we can represent the association between the classes like player and sports game and spectator and show. So any doubt in the association concepts? Any doubt? Any doubt what is association and how it is represented? Shall we proceed? So now we are in classes and module 3. We are discussing about essentials of UML class diagrams. So here we will discuss What is class? What is association among the classes? Attributes, operations, and generalization. So we started with what is class, how to represent a class. So this is the typical representation of any class with class name, attributes, and the access specifiers, public, private, protected, and the functions with attributes and a return type and public, private, protected. Then how to represent the association, multiplicity, and relationship among the classes. So by using the notations like one, many, many to many, we are representing the associations and among the classes. So the various multiplicity factors are many, one to one, many to many, and many to internal range. So the many to many relationship is represented between employee and manager class. The same way, assistant and manager. So on the association, we are specifying the label and one-to-one relationship also represented. The same way, while representing multiplicity and association, we need to follow some, while drawing the diagram, the proper way of drawing diagrams should be, say for example, if you take the scenario of a student is registering for a course, so a n number of students can register for n number of courses. So in that case, for each course, they need to perform one registration. So n number of students are registering n number of courses. To register for any course, they need to register once. The same way, reflexive association and mutually exclusive asymmetric concepts can be represented like this. Say if you want to register for a course, you need to fulfill the prerequisite. So here the prerequisite may be mutually exclusive. If you complete any one of the course of the same type, then yeah, any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. So we can represent the reflexive association using this notation. And we can make use of directed associations also. Here the direction shows which is your source and which is your destination. And one-to-many relationship with the directed association. This is your starting point, this is your end point, or source and destination. The same way we can represent the association among the different classes using multiplicity. So the next concept is called generalization. So we know very well generalization means, say for example, if you take an animal. So the animal will have different types of animals, aquatic animal and land animal. So both the land animal and aquatic animal generalized together is called as an animal. The same way if you take car, so we have different brands of car, petrol car and diesel car. So both petrol car and diesel car generalized and called as car. The same way we can say PG student, UG student, both are students only. So the generalization symbol is the triangle with hollow triangle. So it's not it will not be filled with any color. So blank triangle with arrow association represents these two categories. These two derived classes belongs to the same base class, or we can say these two derived classes are siblings of the same superclass or parent class. So the generalization symbol is a labeled group of generalization with common superclass. So to represent the base class and derived class concept, we are using generalization. The label, sometimes called discriminator, describes the criteria used in the specialization. So we can say engineering course, we have CSE IT. Both CSE IT belongs to the same engineering discipline. Or if you want to specify types of the same class or various derived classes, we can go for generalization concept. So what are the other things we need to consider in generalization or avoid unnecessary generalizations? So if there is no subtypes or there is no superclass and base class category, no need to go for generalization. It would be hard to imagine that there would need to be different methods written for most of the classes. So if there is no need to make a generalization, to put all the components in the same class itself. For example, JAWS recording, classical recording and blue recordings would not differ from with the record how they are sold, nor with regard to the kinds of information clients can find out about them. Say for example, we have recording is the base class, voice, video recording and audio recording. So we are subdividing the recording concept as video recording and audio recording. Again, the video recording is subdivided into music video, and audio recording is subdivided into jazz, classical, blues and rock. So if there is not necessary to differentiate all those three components, no need to have subclasses, no need to go for generalization. You can put all together under the same category. And a hierarchy of classes in which there would not be any differences in operations, there should be avoided. If there is no, if all the recordings are following the same methods and functions, no need to differentiate the classes. You can put all the attributes and functions together in the same audio recording itself. Say avoiding unnecessary generalization. So say for example, improves the class diagram with the corresponding to instance diagram. So we have the class recording class with the title and artist, and we have another recording category with the label. So here the recording, n number of recordings are performed by in the particular recording category. It may be audio recording or video recording. And within that they have subcategory. So the subcategory like recording category like JAWS, classical and rock. So that subcategory can be specified if all are following the same method. If the functions and attributes are common for all the recording types like JAWS, classical, blues and rock, and there is no difference among the operations, then no need to specify like this. We can put all together in the subcategory itself. So the recording category is video recording category. This is audio recording category. Here video recording category, we have music video alone. And here on audio recording, we have blues, classical, JAWS and rock, but all are performing the same operation. The operations are common, attributes are common. Then no need to make them as separate subclasses. No need to go for generalization. We can put it together and as a subcategory. The same way, handling multiple discriminators. So creating higher level generalization, there must also be other differences in the features of the subclasses in order to justify their existence. For example, many have prey association and attribute describing the hunting strategy and operations to manipulate this data. Say for example, we have the generalization diagram. So we have the superclass called animal. So the aquatic animal and land animal both are generalized into animal. Again, in aquatic animal we have carnivores and herbivores, and in the land animals we have carnivores and herbivores. So if all are having the same attribute and the type of food and the type of their living habit is common, then no need to discriminate the subcategory. And the hunting habits, hunting strategy and operations to the manipulate the data is different. In that case, we can go for the generalization with the subcategories. So here, aquatic animal and land animal both are generalized into animal. So we are using the generalization symbol, not the association symbol, to represent the inheritance and to represent the hierarchy among the different classes. We should go for generalization. So any doubt in the generalization concept, how the generalization is mentioned? If you take handling multiple discriminations using multiple high inheritance, for example, carnivores may have many prey association and attribute discriminating its hunting strategy and operations to manipulate the data. Say for example, if you take animal, we have based on the habit we are making it as aquatic animal and land animal. And the types of food what they take, we have carnivores and herbivores. So again, in the aquatic, we can have the same interconnection, say association, aquatic carnivores and aquatic herbivores. And here we'll have the say 2 power n combination. Again, we'll have land carnivores and land herbivores. So in that case, if you want to make the combination and matrix representation, in that case, we can go for the association as attribute describing the hunting based on the hunting strategy and based on the operations on the habit as well as type of food what they are taking. So if there is an overlapping, in that case, in the overlapping place, we need to use the curved arrow. We should not cut as it is. So even in flowchart and entity relationship diagrams also, if the associations or generalizations are cutting each other, or if there is some crossover, or if there is some overlap, the overlap should be mentioned using curved overlap. So while drawing, we should use curved overlaps, not the crossover. The same way, avoid having instance change in the class. An instance should never need to change the class. Consider example student attendance. The attendance status of the student can change from full-time to part-time or vice versa. A situation in which object will need to change from time to time, generalization of this type should be avoided. Say for example, we have the student. The students are categorized into full-time student and part-time student. So the full-time student and part-time student, the major difference is attendance, whether they are attending the class from 8 to 4 or they are attending the class from part-time students means weekend classes or evening 4 to 6 classes. So based on the attendance, we are categorizing the students. So if you are categorizing the students based on a single attribute, that should be avoided in case of generalization. You got the idea? So what is the generalization? What are the things we need to consider while going for generalization? Any doubt? Draw a class diagram corresponding to the following situation. So they given you a scenario. So for the given scenario or the given specification, we need to draw a class diagram. An organization has 3 categories of employees: professional staff, technical staff, and supporting staff. The organization also has departments and divisions. Each employee belongs to their department or division. Assume the people will never need to change from one category to another. So they given you an employee management system. So the organization is having 3 types of employees. So we have to create 3 classes: professional staff class, technical staff class, and supporting staff class. The attributes and functions need to be identified. Here, employee is the superclass. Below the employee superclass, we have professional staff, technical staff, and support staff. So we have 3 divisions. The same way, a media player that can handle sound, images, and sequence of images. Each type of media requires a plugin, although some plugins can handle more than one type of media. So here we need to create the generalization for the given 3 classes. So media class is our parent class. So within the parent media class, we have 3 subclasses called sound class, image class, and sequence of images class. So these 3 are subdivisions of the base class called media player. So media player is your parent class. So the child classes are sound player, image player, and sequence of image players or a slideshow. And they will differ in the type of plugin. So in that way, we need to draw the corresponding generalization class. So any doubt in the generalization? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, you please go through the content of what is generalization, what is association. So now we discussed what is association, what is generalization, and how it is represented. What are the things we need to consider while creating the overlapping we should avoid. We should avoid unnecessary generalization. And if the operations or attributes are same, no need to go for separate subdivisions. Here all the operations are common, so then in that case we can go for subcategory. No need to specify the generalization. And how the generalization can be avoided if there is no difference in the attributes or functions. And what is generalization? How the generalizations are used to represent base class and child classes. So that is a generalization. The symbol is symbol of generalization is we'll use a triangle. The top of the triangle will have the base class, and we'll have the two subdivisions or derived classes in the bottom. And the association, we are using the arrow. We are using a line with the arrow, and the multiplicity is specified on the arrow. So we started with what is association, what is class diagram, what is class, and what are the things associated with class, how to represent a class, then what is association and multiplicity, then what are the things we need to avoid in association, then generalization. What is generalization? How the hierarchy and inheritance is represented in generalization, how to draw the generalization concept among the different classes, what are the things we need to avoid while making the generalization. So they given you on two case studies. One is to draw the generalization for employees. Employee as a superclass, a professional staff and the technical staff, support staff as subcategories, and media player as an base class, sound player, image player, and sequence image player as derived classes. So you go through the concepts of association and generalization and class diagram. So we'll try the same concept using a star UML or virtual lab tomorrow. Okay, you answer your attendance. So you go through the content. If you have any doubt, you ask me in the next class. Answer your attendance for this 3 to 4 class. Any doubt? Any doubt so far? Yes, Jaswant Reddy. Okay, answer your attendance. Shall we end the class? All of you answered your attendance? Okay, shall we end the class? Any doubt so far? So the concepts are very simple and easy only. Please go through the content and you try some exercise with virtual lab as well as star UML. Then you will easily understand. So in the next class, tomorrow's class, we will try some examples associated with association as well as generalization using star UML. The same simple examples. Okay, shall we end the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tomorrow we have 8:30 class. Please all of you join.